the Barbershop Show. I'm your host, Matt Horner, with my wingman, co-host.
And I love Wingman, by the way.
You like wingman?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, minion, Keith Wilson.
I prefer Goose.
A goose, yeah. So, just came back from a great week of Thanksgiving.
Yep.
You kind of want to say a week. It's really a day, but you end up shopping, doing all this other stuff. Even before you kind of just preparing for the feast, it's this whole buildup of this great meal, and it was awesome for me this year. First time to ever host at my house.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
cool.
we were excited about that. My wife did a great job. Had a few little hiccups. I was asked to step up to the plate. I didn't on carving the turkey. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
And lots of things. So Thanksgiving, I think my non-religious holiday.
Yeah, it's an American holiday.
But I think other, like Canada, they have it, but it's not like when we have it.
Sure.
So they're totally doing it wrong. But
This was the first year that I did Thanksgiving in Florida with my mom.
Yeah.
That was cool. Not with my mom. It wasn't my first time with my mom, but she lives in Florida now.
So we bought a new house with a guest house, so we had in-laws stay, so family come stay.
It's awesome.
Had friends come stay. He was almost like a fish, you know. It was good for the first day. Second day you could tolerate, but the third day he stunk, you know what I'm saying, in that sense. Like, get the heck out. So you got family like that, like Randy Quaid off Christmas Vacation when he pulls up. You ever seen that Christmas Vacation?
I want to rewatch that movie so bad.
Man, it is hilarious. But anyway, Randy Quaid, he pulls up and
That
in his
RV.
RV and slaps Chevy Chase. Then he says, well, we'll only be here for a month or two. You know, like, sometimes Thanksgiving feels like that. They're there for a day or two, but it felt like they were there for 6 months. Like
that part where he's dumping his sewer.
into the storm sewer. Yeah, that's hilarious. You have that uncle that shows up, or that old person who says something that everyone's thinking, but because they think they can get away with it, or because they old, they say it.
Oh, man, yeah. Super awkward.
Yeah, my grandma was that way. She would, you know, do you got an earring in your nose? Why'd you do that?
Yes.
You know, or put some clothes on, your boobs are showing. She'd say stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, things like that.
Thank goodness for old people.
Yeah, I can't wait to be that way. I'm already kind of, you know.
Oh, my gosh. You're going to be unhinged.
I will be unhinged. You know, everybody loves that old person until that old person talks to you.
That's
you know?
exactly right.
Like,
Shut up, Grandpa. Shut up, Grandpa.
Matt, you got a real job yet?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Thanksgiving comes with all types of pressure, cooking, preparing the meal.
Sure.
And so I had one pressure put on me, and we've always had it at other people's house. Like I said, it was at my house this year. My mother-in-law turned to me and goes, Matt, it's time to carve the turkey. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go find my father-in-law. You know, that's what I'm thinking.
Sure.
Or you carve it, you know. She goes, well, it's your house. You're supposed to carve the turkey. And I just turned and looked at her, and I go, no, I never carved a turkey, you know.
Yeah.
And I kind of, if I knew that, I wanted to, like, watch a YouTube channels to see the proper way to cut up a turkey.
Sure.
So I was like, no, I don't do it. You do it. And I just pawned it off. Well, she's frustrated, and she didn't show it, but she cuts through the foil pan, and chicken grease goes everywhere.
Oh, no.
And then I could tell she was really frustrated
it's
at
your
me
fault.
because it's my fault that she cut through the pan. You know what I'm saying? But I looked at that as a learning curve. Like, I'm grateful for you, CG, we call her CG, for making that mistake, because now I know. Don't cut through the pan. So next year, if we have it at my house, which I think we might, I'll carve the turkey, but I learned something.
And in-laws, you know, there's not, you know, you're talking about the pressure of cutting this turkey, which is immense, you know, and then but there's other pressures too, you know, living up to the expectation of father-in-law, or, you know, having your kids behave a certain way. There's just so many things that, you know, go into these family gatherings. Everybody's, you know, putting their best. It's like an interview. Mm-hmm. They're putting their best foot forward, but you know the dirt, right? Yeah. So everybody, it's like, why are you trying to be this person? You're not this person right now.
Yeah. So that's the way it was at our house. My wife likes a formal setting, and so she worked real hard and made a beautiful table. My mother-in-law brought some centerpieces. I mean, it was like something you'd see on a movie. My house.
That's cool.
It was beautiful. We had linen napkins and place settings and
Awesome.
more than one fork, and and it wasn't plastic, and so we had this nice setting. And my son really likes setting the table. He likes fancy things. My oldest, he likes dressing up and things. So it really, he liked it, and I enjoyed it. But the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, oh, we gotta wash these linen napkins. I'm gonna have to fold them and iron them and do all this stuff. And so you can lose content. You can lose focus because you're caught up on the work and
impressing people.
But then at the same time, there's nothing wrong with doing it if
Sure.
because it was beautiful. It was a work of art. The table was beautiful. We took a picture of it.
That's awesome.
You know? So I was real proud of that.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, this year was my first time carving the Thanksgiving turkey. So, unlike you, I didn't shy away from it. I actually volunteered.
Manned up, did you?
I did. Because I subscribed to theartofmanliness.com, and they had this podcast. So I don't know if it's a podcast, but it was an email that I got, and it was how to carve a Thanksgiving turkey. They had a YouTube of this chef. And so I thought, oh, that's cool. I'd like to know how to do this. So I did. And what I didn't know was that the way I was about to carve the turkey was completely different than the way my mom had carved the turkey her entire life.
Wow.
And I didn't know that. So I could have been stepping into a huge bear trap here because people get real crazy. Everything's got to be exactly right. And my mom's, I'm not asserting that she's this person. If she's listening to this podcast, I love you, Mom. But in a lot of situations, there's that pressure that everything has to be perfect. You know, your wife doesn't want to make a pie because, you know, your mom's going to be there and she might say something about the pie, or this person's, you know, always been the pie person, and so they have the best pie, and you can't mess it up. It's got to taste, you know, the best it's ever been.
My grandmother that passed away that I was talking about earlier, she was the one who would, you know, if you came in with a goofy tattoo, she was going to question it.
Sure.
That type of stuff.
Yeah.
But she made the banana pudding, and now she's gone. Nobody would dare bring a banana pudding
right,
to
because
any
it'll
function.
never be as good.
And now my mom is making it, and she's doing good. I think
That's
she really
awesome.
took it over and did that. But until Grandma was to pass away, don't you even think about bringing a banana pudding. I mean, somebody would marry into the family and be like, oh, I'm going to bring a banana pudding. We just look at her like, heck no, you can't. Who do you think you are? You think you're Grandma Sledge? No, you're not.
You're not even close.
Not even close. Sit your mighty self down. Don't you dare bring a banana pudding until Grandma has passed away.
So true.
You know, but there is certain things like that. Like
it is, it's just loads of pressure. So anyway, I'm cutting this turkey, right? And it's the first time, so it's just, and I get everything on the plate just like they told me to. The chef's telling me how to make it presentable and this and that. And my mom was like, man, this turkey, I've never seen a turkey cut this way. This is amazing. She loved it.
Yeah.
And I was so thankful because I didn't even think about the fact that there's more than one way to carve a turkey and that perhaps she won't like it.
Yeah.
So, but she loved it, and everybody was happy, and I was happy, and my wife was really concerned that I was going to offend somebody by volunteering to do this, you know, but I just didn't even know it was that big of a deal.
I didn't know I was expected to do it, so it was just thrown on me, and I cowered away like any good, responsible adult should. You know,
that's so true.
Hide in a corner, act like you're watching football, and that's the great thing about football too. Is on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
it is our only outlet for that annoying uncle or that person that it is our safe sanctuary during a holiday.
Yep.
That we can come to. We can watch the Cowboys lose like they did this year, or whoever your team is, Green Bay played and stuff like that. You can hide in that and get wrapped up in football and ignore the fact that so-and-so did this, or Uncle Bob, who owes you $1,000, showed up with a new car, or whatever.
And football, you know, I remember going to Thanksgiving at my great-grandmother's house. Football was being played in the den. And so that's where you went if you wanted to escape the craziness of the family, like you're talking about, because no one was talking in the den. We're just watching football.
Yeah, and you can yell and shout for a football game.
Sure.
If it's about football.
Yeah, but
if you're, and I hate it when the ladies would come in and watch. We're all watching football, and here brings the paper, and what's in that paper? Nothing but Black Friday sales. Then they sit down on the floor and they start laying out their shopping thing. We're trying to watch football.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, whatever. Macy's has this spell. Kohl's, we're going to do this. So-and-so needs shoes. We're going to go here, do that. Totally interrupting the football game. So ladies or shopping people, stay away from the TV. Let the football be the sanctuary of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's neutral territory.
Neutral territory. Take that to the kitchen table or another side room, the patio, wherever, the den.
Outside.
In your minivan. I don't care, but keep it away from the TV and the football. I mean, that is where people go, where we don't have to talk to the people who have, because like you said, Thanksgiving is a place where people come together at their best.
Yeah, they try to be.
Forget the dirt that we have on each other.
Yeah. But sometimes it comes out, though.
Yeah.
And there's those, really awkward situations where,
somebody out somebody in the Thanksgiving prayer.
Oh, my gosh.
Like your cousin hasn't had a job for like 6 months, and the other guy, like the brother-in-law, who's frustrated probably because he's got loans or something on him. He's like, "Dear Lord, I'm just thankful that I have a job."
And pray for Jim.
Pray for Jim that he might find a job, so that all of us. But Lord, really thank you for my job, and what it means to my family. So. Blah, blah, blah.
Do you guys do the whole, speaking of being thankful of a job, do you do the whole hold hands or stand around the table and say what you're thankful for?
We held hands and I said a prayer. And see, there was a lot of new things for me here because I had announced that I was praying. If we were at my mom and dad's house, that's the way, and that's why we went. Because we normally have multiple little tables, have a kid's table, an adult table. So the idea of just sitting like Norman Rockwell style and, praying, I'd love that, but we just have too many tables. So we all just hold hands and say prayer. I do like the idea of saying things that you're thankful for after the food has been served and everyone's eating.
Oh.
I do not like, and this has happened, and I hope this goes viral or whatever it needs to for this reason.
Look at you using that tech jargon.
Tech jargon, yeah. Whatever it needs to happen. Do not start the whole let's go around and say we're thankful for, and food is getting cold. Your turkey that you just carved, your casserole, your green bean casserole, your stuffing. Because if you got even 10 people there, and the time you go around and everybody says something you're thankful for, that food is cold. And people worked hard. This is a meal we've hyped up for a year.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's get the food going, and then we can hit the, get your fork, tap your red Solo cup or your Crystal, whatever you got.
Sure.
And say, hey.
Yeah, while you're eating.
So just don't do it before the meal. Do it during or after the meal.
What a great suggestion.
Because I hate that. Often that has happened a few times. Say what you're thankful for. No, I am thankful for this food I'm about to devour, and you are screwing it up.
Yeah, you're messing it up. Right now, your prayer and thankfulness is getting in between me and my food.
Yeah.
And people aren't paying attention. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
They're going as fast as they can. They're just trying to get through this because they're hungry. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think it's a great suggestion.
And the Thanksgiving meal is always at some weird hour, because
oh my gosh.
You try to set it for 12, you have it at 2. You try to set it for 6, you have it at 8.
Well, and I've been invited to family, meals in, 3. Why on earth would we eat at 3? That's not normal. Mm-hmm. Let's eat at noon. Let's eat at 5, but why not 3? Mm-hmm. Anyway, pet peeve.
Yeah, so... But, I know this one church, they have their meal every time after Sabbath services at 2 o'clock. I don't know. Who eats lunch at 2? But
it's because the service goes long, Matt. Seriously.
I know this minister is kind of my wingman, but, I thought he'd have some pull.
At least our church feeds you.
They do that.
Yeah. What Baptist church is giving you a lunch after the service?
Yeah, well, it's for a youth donation normally, too. Well, we got to send our kids to camp. Come by, $10 spaghetti supper.
Oh my gosh, it just goes on and on with you.
I know, but I mean,
our church feeds people. What
it does. It is. Actually, that's one of my most favorite parts.
Yeah, who doesn't want?
And I always kind of bring a cheapie when I go there too. But then I load up on all the goodies that people bring. So thankful that some people don't. I always bring a fruit dish. It always is gone, but. We're sidetracking here. Let's get back to Thanksgiving.
That's definitely a sidebar.
But
we'll talk about churches another time.
Church stuff the other time. So we have traditions. Black Friday is a tradition for a lot of people.
Are you a Black Friday shopper?
Used to. Back when I didn't have all the tools my heart's content. Now I've kind of been content with my tool shopping. But you could go to Home Depot, Lowe's.
Spoiled white American entitled Brett.
I am, man. It's just like, do I need another drill? No, I got 6 of them. You know,
Look
do I
at
need
you.
another router? I got 3.
Oh my
You know,
God.
you just kind of you get. I've been blessed with tools, so I have all I need. The tools I want now are multiple, thousands of dollars, and they're not going to be on sale on Black Friday.
Sure.
But here is my story about Black Friday and tools. So one morning, I'm in downtown Dallas at my in-laws for Thanksgiving a few years back, and there's a Home Depot, and I'm going to go there, and I'm going to go get some drills and some drill bits and some stuff I needed for the cabinet shop. Next to it is a Kohl's, an Academy, and a Best Buy in the shopping center, okay?
Okay.
I show up at 6 o'clock in the morning thinking I'm going to get my stuff. I park in the parking lot. It is crammed full of people.
Oh my gosh.
I'm thinking I'm not going to get I wanted a radio, a DeWalt radio, to plug my battery in. It was real cheap. I get out, and there's lines around all these other stores. Nobody's at the Home Depot. The Home Depot parking lot is just full for the other ones.
From the other stores.
And I've always been able to get no lines and I got to thinking, why are there no lines at the lumber yards like there is at Academy or Sporting Goods or Best Buy, Macy's? Because who's always at the bottom of the list for gifts? DAD. Dad.
I love how serious you got in that moment. It's like,
And it's like, well, Tommy needs his shoes, and Billy Bob needs his radio, and Susie needs her iPad, and Mom needs this, and we're out of towels. The house needs linens. And
no one's thinking about Milwaukee drills
Milwaukee drills.
or
So
DeWalt.
I've been many times to the Home Depot, Lowe's, home
Absolutely.
improvement centers on Black Fridays, and never had a trouble getting anything I needed. I got to a point where I used to get at 6. That's when I realized I'm coming at 8 next time.
Yeah.
I came at 8. It was still there.
I've done Black Friday shopping at Lowe's, Home Depot. Great deals. As a matter of fact, last year I bought a drill set at Home Depot.
Yeah.
Black Friday, and I got a free, Sawzall.
Yeah.
With it.
So, but if you come probably like at 3 or after lunch, that's when they get to the dad on the list because dad's like down there at the bottom. Then then it's too late.
Too late.
So I'm not going to say don't come at, you need to get there before lunch, but it's not like the rush at Walmart and other places.
So this year, speaking of Walmart, I went to get a TV. They had a 55-inch Sharp 4K TV for $300.
That's cheap, man.
I felt like it was a great
I
deal.
remember the first flat screen I bought, it was a lot more than that.
So my mom needed a new TV, and she's not going to do Black Friday shopping. It's not her style. So we went to the store, and it was on Thursday night because now Black Friday's encroaching on Thanksgiving. Black Friday's trying to take over Thanksgiving, These deals started.
I hate that. I almost refuse. Is there anything wholesome left that the commercial marketing people can't
Well, and that's
grab?
the thing. That's the word about holy or sanctified that people don't understand. It's special.
Set apart.
Yeah.
We
don't treat it like
don't treat it
everything else.
like that. So I've kind of quit last few years. I mean, I did used to do Black
And
Friday.
it's up to Americans to make that distinction. But
It's up to
at 6 o'clock, I was at Walmart.
Yeah. I tell you what most Americans think is holy: a $300 TV.
That's exactly right.
They go, "Holy crap!
Yeah.
Did you see that price?"
And so we get to Walmart, and we're just there's all these pallets throughout the store, and no one. The whole Walmart shopping has stopped. It's just Black Friday. So there's all these pallets, and people are standing around the pallet of the thing that they want to buy.
Yeah.
And we're looking for this TV. We walk all the way around the store. And finally, and we're just, bumping through people. There's a massive crowd. Finally, we get to this place, and you get in a line to get this TV. It was the best experience ever. Walmart was smart in this moment because you got in line. They gave you a piece of paper. You went to the register, paid for your TV, and then you pulled your car around the back of the store, and they loaded the TV right into your car for you, so you're not walking through the store with this massive TV or the parking lot.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing experience. The whole thing took less than 30 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what I
funny.
thought.
I think one thing is because we haven't done Black Friday probably in 3 years now. Used to do it all the time. But people buying stuff online. So a lot of times on Black Friday, what we're doing is we're just sitting there on our iPads, and I'm telling my wife, she bought some Christmas items and had them mailed to us. So you're just because Black Friday ended up being such a horrible experience for so many people because of fighting, parking, lines, stand in line all day only to find out that your Tickle Me Elmo is gone. and
that's frustrating.
so that's frustrating. So people find it to be a lot more peaceful. Just Cyber Saturday, I think they call it.
Well, yeah, it's all of it. It's like a cyber month at this point.
At this point, so that I think
but that's true. Cyber
that
Monday,
tradition might be fading, but
I don't know.
Transitioning, I'm going to talk about the history of Thanksgiving. What do you know about it?
So, Thanksgiving is obviously an American holiday because of its historical value with the settlers, the Pilgrims, and the Native Americans.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of significance with that.
Disney years ago, and it was a hit. I thought it would have been a great hit movie, but it never really, I think, did much. It was called Squanto, Indian Warrior, but you can Wikipedia it or Google it, but the history of Thanksgiving in Squanto. I think one of the best stories untold or kind of kept out of history class. And I think one reason why is the providence that God had in Thanksgiving and creating this country and how the stars in some ways had aligned. And that's what I would call providence, that God had control of things that were uncontrollable and took care of people. And so the great story about Squanto was, I'm going to share it real quick because I always want to share this story around Thanksgiving because it shows that even when the darkest hour, that we could be thankful that God is in control. And that's what I think the Pilgrims experienced with Squanto. Squanto had a Job-like story. He had horrible things happen to him all of his life. But there was a moment where everything came together, and these horrible experiences he had in his life brought fortune and blessings to people that we get to have today in America. So Squanto was sold into slavery or caught by some people and brought to Spain. And so at the age of 10, and was forced into slavery for a long time till finally they think some monks bought him, and he worked at a monastery. Whole time, he realized he was an Indian from North America, and he wanted to get back to go see his mom and dad. Missed his family very much. So the monks released him, and he made his way to Great Britain, hopefully to get on a trade ship back to North America. And so he finally found passage to North America, only to come back to see his village devastated by disease and his family all dead. So this is not the time of American Airlines. This is a time where if you got to come back, it was a miracle.
Sure.
So just the fact that he came back was a miracle, and that he found monks to buy him and purchase his freedom.
Sure.
And in a time where racism and social class and caste system was very strong, that they would allow, they would buy a Native American in Spain.
Yeah.
That was just impressive in that. So all of that, he goes into this new tribe. The Pilgrims come. They're blown 300 miles off course from where they're supposed to be. They're not needing where they meet another Indian. They just kind of bounce into him. He speaks broken English. His name is Sagiset or something like that. Some name that I can't hardly say. And he goes, I know an Indian that speaks perfect English. So we're talking, I looked that up at the time, and it was way before, it was like 1600 something. So how many Native Americans in North America in the 1600s could speak English?
Not very many.
Yeah, not very many. I don't know. I would say less than a dozen, maybe only one. His name was Squanto.
His name was Squanto. And he just so happened. So he comes back, bumps into these Indians with his friend Sagiset, and he tells them about Spain and the London Bridge, and they realize this guy has been to Europe. Yeah.
He speaks, and he helped them with this harvest, taught them how to plant corn, and got the Pilgrims going where they could survive. And they were celebrating a religious feast at the time. The Pilgrims in early America didn't celebrate Christmas. They celebrated the Feast of the Tabernacles and a lot of Jewish,
the biblical
holidays that we've seemed to get away from. And that'll be a podcast for another time, Christmas versus biblical feast.
Cannot wait.
Me and Keith are on each side here, so it'll be fun. But anyway, get back to Squanto. And so they invite him to the feast, which was what's the fall feast?
It's Tabernacles.
Feast of the Tabernacles.
Feast of the Booths.
And that was technically the first Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And the Indians brought the good stuff, the deer, the venison.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the Pilgrims are still struggling, and they brought a pumpkin. And
You can't. What do you do with a pumpkin?
I know. I've carved pumpkins for Halloween and stuff. I've seen what's inside a pumpkin.
It's gross.
And then I've had pumpkin pie. Thank God for processed foods,
Oh my
because
goodness.
raw pumpkin and everything about a pumpkin, it was just like, how did they eat that? How did they cook it? You know,
No idea.
You know, and we often think whole foods, green foods, all that. You know, some foods like pumpkin and squash need to be processed to make them edible.
Yeah.
But that's another topic. So that's where we get a lot of our stuff. And
Random thoughts of Matt.
random thoughts of, and so the Pilgrims brought pumpkins and vegetables, and
That's
I think
awesome.
they don't even think there was a turkey there, but
And so that's where the holiday comes from.
that's where the holiday comes
it's a
from.
national holiday to celebrate.
And then I think the Civil
time.
War, Abraham Lincoln, and all them people started trying to bring it back to be thankful
Yeah.
during the time of darkness.
And I think that's important.
Yeah.
It's a great part of American culture.
Great part and a great story about. So that's why I call it my non-religious religious holiday, because I felt like God, that whole story, just you see the hand of providence coming through.
It's absolutely true.
And it's a great time to stop and be thankful.
Yep.
So with that, I hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And hope you give grace to the pressures of Thanksgiving, carving the turkeys, preparing
And if
the
you're
food.
the in-laws, go easy on your daughter and son-in-laws.
Don't be telling him how you can fix up your house,
Oh my gosh.
where he's missing on his house maintenance, stuff like that. Don't be doing that either if you're that guy.
Yep.
And enjoy the food, love the traditions.
That's right.
Don't trample people in Walmart for the shopping. And hope your football team wins. So with that, have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.